All right, John, question for you. What's your favorite gaming genre?
Derek, I'm gonna give you a top 10 of my favorite gaming genres.
Ooh,
Actually, you know what? You give me a top 10. You give me a top 10.
give you a top
I
10.
think you've
Well,
got data.
fortunately, I mean, I have a few ideas here and there, but fortunately, our audience has given us a top 10 here. We polled everyone for a top 10 gaming genre poll and got 76 different genres that I was able to sort of pull out. Because I was fretting last time, I was like, okay, how the hell am I going to break this down? How are we going to let people vote on this? And I was like, I got to just decide on myself. And I tried to, I branched out to ask people like, what genres do we want? Like, am I forgetting anything? How far should we break things down? Because if you break it down too much, it just becomes so niche that it doesn't really get any votes. So I think I found a pretty decent balance, all things considered. And I realize I did not keep a hold of my list of all the genres for you to pick from. Crap.
Well, I know the base genre, so we'll see what fits. But it's
Okay.
it's hard to boil it all down though, because like if you're a fighting game fan, or if you're a beat 'em up fan, like do you vote for that as a fighting game or what? Like it's such a
Well,
vast array of subsets.
it's really tricky, especially nowadays where they break it into pieces. Like with fighting games, I put 2D fighting, 2D
Yeah,
fighters, 3D fighters. Then people reminded me it's like we have platform fighters like Smash and
yeah.
Rivals of Ether, and then there's also the arena fighters like your Naruto's and well most anime fighting games, like that you can really subsect it down to. And then you again with the cross section, you have a game like Absalom. That's a beat
Mm,
'em up, but it's also
yeah.
a roguelike. Which do you pick?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
it gets crazy vast, yeah. But yeah, I'm interested to see it less so as what is the definitive best genre, but more as a popularity contest to what people gravitate towards.
yeah,
I
and
have
it's
I have a good inkling of what the top three will be, but everything else is the Wild West.
yeah. And if you want to have a little bit of an idea, I just sent over to you the poll, and it's a drop down, so you better look through the drop down and decide
Okay,
what you have a little bit of a better chance of picking out something. So yeah, let's go ahead and see what we're in for here with all these games and all these genres, and see what stands out the most to our audience. I'm quite curious. It was fun to count this one up and see what actually happens. So
mm,
we had 900 votes total, pretty decent amount. Because
dang,
I figured this was going to be a tough one. Like this is going to be like, ooh, what do we do? What do you pick? And number 10 got 1,089 points.
we're starting off pretty high. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I I'll go for the adventure genre, so like classic PC like Monkey Island.
Going yeah, the monkey your Monkey Islands, your Maniac Mansions, your
Yeah,
King's Quests, all that. All right. At number 10, 3D action platformers.
3D action platformers. What's the
Yes.
example of
So, an
that?
example of 3D action platformers to me is games that favor action a little bit more than platforming. Like the platforming's there, and but it's much more
So
focused on a bit of
Ratchet
an
and
action.
Clank kind of thing.
Ratchet and Clank is a
Yeah.
big one. Jack
Mm.
2, Jack 3 is another big one. Um, Anywhere it's just sort of like it's more about the action than the platforming, but the platforming is still a vital element to that.
Yeah.
And I
Mario Sunshine's a weird middle one where like there's action platforming in that game, but I think there's more platforming than there is action platforming.
yeah, I that's probably a good way to put it. It feels like it's a bit more of a combat element to it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of PS2 platformers, as Press Play to Jason points out,
Yeah.
that
Natalie says
stick out there.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Absolutely. Like you
Yeah,
can jump around, but it's not really the point. It's more just beating a bunch of dudes up. It's kind of like
yeah,
it's almost like a beat 'em up in many ways.
a little bit. I actually chose this one because I had 2D action platformers because you had your Ninja Gaidens and Castlevanias, and then I was like, well, we gotta have 3D action platformers in there because
Yeah.
to just to match that. But it's funny that I wouldn't put any 3D Castlevania or Ninja Gaiden into this category.
No. Yeah. Okay.
They go
It's
pure action.
yeah, it's a funny subset. You're right. Yeah, it's quite. it's one that's kind of getting a little bit less common these days outside of Ratchet and
Mm.
Clank. Even in the indie space, I can't think of that many action platformers. A lot of them go for the more expressive, like core, like Mario 64 3D style. I'm sure there's a
Mhm.
bunch out there, but nothing's really coming to mind.
Yeah, I can't think of any like recent games that really follow in that subsect. Like there's a few Donkey Kong inspired platformers, there's a few Wario inspired platformers, there's a few actually Wario World is a pretty good example of an action platformer,
Yeah,
3D
true.
action platformer now that I think about it.
Yeah,
There's all of those, but you're right, it goes more the Mario 64 route. Nobody's really tried to follow up to something like Ratchet and Clank, maybe because Ratchet and Clank never really left.
maybe. Jaden Buck also says the Lego games. I'd say, yeah, they're action platformers.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Um, and yeah, I mean, I have a bit of a bias. I don't know if I put this as one of my favorite genres personally. I love Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet
Yeah.
and Clank's one of my favorite, um, you know, franchises out there.
Mm.
But do I love that the genre itself completely? That's tougher. That's tougher.
It probably wouldn't come near my top 10. Like, there's games I love that are action platformers, but I think there's other genres that I'd put ahead of this one.
Hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I agree with that. It's not something that comes up. It's so specialized. It felt a little. I was not unsure about putting it, but I was like, nah, I think there's enough examples of it that we'll just leave it in there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Still solid choice. It's interesting to see a genre that gets represented here that really isn't Nintendo focused. There's a lot of like outside of like as you said, maybe Sunshine, definitely Wario World. I
Yeah,
can't think of a
and
lot of other.
Kirby, but otherwise, nothing really.
Yeah, not really. So yeah, number 10, 3D action platformers. All right, so we got our baseline here, John. We'll see if this helps you out any. As we move on to number 9, which beat out the 3D action platformer genre by 122 points.
Okay. I don't have much of a gauge until we get to the very obvious ones.
Mhm.
So I'll go with a wider swing. I don't know if it's our audience necessarily, but people who love this are very, this is their life. MMOs.
MMOs, okay, yeah. MMOs were big. I feel like in the early 2000s, like with World of Warcraft, that's when everybody was talking about MMOs, and you're just coming off of EverQuest and so forth. However, number 9 is not MMOs. Instead, number 9 is, well, I didn't know how to quite label this one. I kind of came up with my own
Yeah,
definition for it because you have your visual novels,
mm,
but to me, a visual novel is something that is just on a set path. You know, there's not really a lot of choice. You're just going through the novel itself.
yeah,
And then you have romantic, like you have your romance sims versions of visual novels. That makes sense. But where does something like Ace Attorney and Danganronpa fall?
ah,
I labeled those as mystery novels. And so
yeah,
that's what number 9 is. It's mystery novels, your games like Ace Attorney, Danganronpa, where it's a visual novel format, but it's more about the mystery of something and having the gameplay of that. I put probably I think Leighton has an excuse to be in that genre. I think
yeah. I'd agree.
Paranormasight is more recent examples definitely works for that. That as Natalie points out, Hotel Dusk
Another
also works
code.
for the
Yeah,
mystery novels.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good. I think there's a good reason to split them up because you're right. A lot of visual novels are very much their books with um basically it's what this says, a visual cue. So you see like
Yeah.
illustrations and portraits to enhance the storytelling. Whereas something like this is there's gameplay to it. Like in
Mhm.
Danganronpa, you go around looking for clues. There's actual interaction in the courtroom. Same with Ace Attorney. They're a lot more gamey than something like Hotel. What's it called? House of Futa Morgana. Like stuff like that. It's a very different kind of game.
Yeah, I played. What helped me out is I played not a few years ago one of the games in the science adventure series.
Hmm.
The same people who would actually go on to make the more recent Famicom Detective Club. They did the remakes
Yeah, yeah,
and so
majors. Yeah,
forth. And I played, I believe it was Chaos. I think it was Chaos Head or something like one of those. And I was struck by how it is, or maybe it's Chaos Child. Um, Yeah, it's Chaos Child. Basically, I was shocked how little input I had into that game.
Yeah.
In terms of that, where I had like a few choices here and there that would change your path, but it wasn't like actively solving puzzles or anything, which is why
Right.
I really decided to split it. And I love a good mystery novel. Like it's involving to play something like 999 or Ace Attorney and having to figure out what you're doing, what the puzzle is, how to make your progress, like, and then follow the plot along as you're trying to figure out the mystery as well.
Yeah, because the story is still the draw of it, but you
Mm.
you feel a lot more engaged when you're actually interacting with all these puzzles and like in the courtrooms, you're sort of like saving yourself there as well. It's like there's a danger and stakes that a story can't add on its own. And as Natalie's saying too, like Famicom Detective Club's an interesting one because there's not really gameplay there. It's
True.
you're going through options that you can like think and investigate, but it's just advancing the story in a non-linear way. Like there's no actual gameplay there.
That is true. That is true. That's makes it. You can have a. It's funny. You could have a mystery story, but it not really follow the mystery novel format of you actually making active choices.
Yeah,
Which is why I made sure to have Ace Attorney and Danganronpa, where you are making like you. There are punishments and stuff that for choosing the wrong answer, and so forth. And they can get pretty clever with how they go about. Like they can make you think and really play with the genre a lot. Like
mm,
I picked up Paranormasight when it was since it was only $5 recently, the original one, and I don't think you've had a chance to play it yet,
not
John.
yet. No.
There are puzzles out of there straight out of the DS,
Oh, okay. That's all.
like
That's
the
all I need to hear.
DS style puzzles for
Yeah,
that is how best else is well, all I'll say, which shocked me. It's like I never thought I'd see puzzles like that again, but they're really smartly implemented. So it gives you that extra little incentive, not incentive, but extra little engagement to the visual novel style. And yeah, it makes sense to me. This one's pretty high up.
yeah,
It's just engaging. People want a new Ace Attorney. People are excited for the new Danganronpa 2x2.
yeah. I was thinking of like visual novels around the 10th spot, so this is close, but not quite.
Yeah, pretty close. So not too bad. So yeah, mystery novels, as I decided to label the genre. I that's completely arbitrary on my part, but hopefully you all understand what I'm getting at with that one. At number 9. So let's move on to our number 8 gaming genre, beating out the mystery novels by 56 points.
Huh, I want to say pinball, but it's not going to be pinball. We're going to go with rhythm games.
Ooh, rhythm games. How dare you besmirch the name of Mario Pinball?
I don't want to. I don't think people are cool enough.
Okay. Oh, is how you hear that, audience? He does not think you're cool enough for
Prove me
that.
wrong. Put pinball here.
Honestly, looking at comments, I think a lot of comments would agree that our audience is not. There's always that fight. It was like, oh, how could you not? This audience not have this in there? How could they not have
It's
this
our
in
own
there?
audience calling themselves uncool.
Yeah, exactly. They call themselves out. Oh goodness! At number 8, the humble kart racer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how. I was curious how well this was going to do because obviously Mario Kart is a huge one. But do the other like is Mario is one good series enough for you to really pull it out? But then you look at it because you have your really trash kart racers like your Garfield karts and Bratz Racing or whatever is out
Yeah.
there. But then you got Crash Team Racing, you've got
Sonic Racing.
Sonic Racing, all the
Yeah.
Sonic Racings and so forth. And they do add to the genre, add some decent competition, but it's not a wide breadth.
No, no, you're
I
right.
feel like compared to some other genres,
In,
it's
in
very
recent years, we've
focused.
seen a lot more of them.
Mhm.
I think with Mario Kart selling so well, it's just something everybody plays. Like everybody has
Mhm.
Mario Kart. Even if it's not your favorite game in the world, it's a known quantity that you come back to. We all like it, um, and like it's just a go-to multiplayer game. Like if you were to have people over, you're going to play like Mario Kart, Smash, a few other things maybe, but it's just always that comfort genre.
Yeah, it's something that's really easy to pick up and play, and everybody understands. Like, young, I was this past Christmas with all the nieces and nephews, and they crowded around Mario Kart 8 to play some Mario Kart. So, and they just completely understood it. The adults could join in if they wanted. You get it. You look at a kart racer, you know what you're getting into, and it's the sort of specifics that you're playing with there. How unique does each one get into things? And I like in recent years they are really trying to branch out to try to make them. They realize they need to stand out from what Mario Kart's doing. And I'm still of the opinion that All Stars Racing Transformed is still the best the kart racer.
It is very good. I like this. The skill ceiling is getting higher too, because
Mm-hmm.
every Mario Kart's had like some unintended core to it. Like Mario Kart Wii has a lot of exploits you can do that weren't intended by the developers. And then they leaned into it more with Mario Kart World, where you've got all that parkour stuff. And if you really engage with those mechanics, then there is another layer to that game, which is far exceeding casual play. So you've got a genre that's just sort of fit to everyone, but those who really get into it, like it can be almost like a fighting game in terms of competitiveness. When what the scene is like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of layers to that game now.
Yeah, in the same way as Mario Kart DS is almost Smash Melee, where you have to learn this exploit or
Yeah,
you're not going to do well at all in that game.
yeah. But if you're that guy like that, then it becomes more than just a comfort game. Like that becomes an obsession. Like some people, the Mario Kart DS people are nuts. They're crazy. You could,
Oh
like
yeah, they are.
they're capable of inhuman things.
And there's again a lot of fun variations there. I love Crash Team Racing. I don't know whether I guess Jack X Combat Racing would fit into this.
It
I've never
counts. It
played
counts.
it.
They've got Little Big Planet Racing,
That's right, they
karting.
do.
Even we've got Mod
Mod,
Nation
mod,
Racers, which I played for like the first time recently. It's pretty good. It's like Diddy
oh,
Kong
nice.
Racing, which is another one.
Oh yeah,
But you
Diddy
can make your
Kong's
own
a good one.
tracks.
Yeah. It's interesting how a lot of these kart racers are starting to put in um not just carts, like you have the planes, you have the
Yeah.
boats. It does help change it up. Again, that's a big reason I like Transform because I mean, there's something thrilling about flying around in a Panzer Dragoon theme stage, or having some of the water based tracks and whatnot. So,
Yeah. Like
um,
one thing I'd love to see is less mascotty stuff, which I think
yeah,
the Sega crossovers do very well. Like every kart race you can think of is usually these bright, colorful characters, but Transform particularly, you get really cool, just more mature Sega worlds, and it's neat seeing these weird characters who shouldn't usually be racing in karts, throwing items around, doing so. And it was a shame that like Naughty Dog did Crash Racing, they did Jack Racing, but no Unkarted. What's that about?
no uncarded or no. What's the pun for Last of Us cart? I don't even
I
know.
don't even know. That's how uninspired it is now. The Last of Us would be getting a kart racing TV show
Oh,
by HBO right now if they weren't so cowardly.
that Alpha Lion,
The,
the
the
Fast of
Fast
Us.
of Us, yes, yes.
That's there you.
Green
That's
light
good.
it, green light it. That's how you get your fourth season of The Last of Us.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. That's the only way it's gonna work. But yeah, it's funny. It's one of those things where like one game kind of dominates, or one or two games kind of dominate, but then you start branching out. It's like, no, there's a lot of other really good ones
Yeah,
that you can think of, and do make the genre kind of branch out a bit. But it is probably one of the more specialized ones out there.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, kart racers at number 8. Let's move on to our number 7, and it's time for our first big jump because number 7 beat out kart racers by 840 something points. It's crazy.
Holy moly! Okay, I it's the one I'm going to go for is kind of tricky. I don't know if there's even going to be either of these, but Life Sim and Farming Sim are actually quite
Uh,
tightly knit. Like
yeah.
Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing, I think you could throw them in the same ballpark, but they're in
You,
those subcategories. They're different genres.
yeah, you could. I have Life Sim and Farm Sim as different genres.
Yeah,
So I yeah.
I'll go with Life Sim, but
Okay.
I'm not confident.
Going for Animal Crossings. All right. At number 7, Strategy RPGs.
Strategy RPGs. So
Yeah,
we're
and
talking like Fire Emblems.
your Fire Emblems, your Final Fantasy Tactics, basically strategy games where your characters level up after each one. So it's I have it separate from just turn-based strategy, which is Advance Wars, Worms, those type of games where you're taking turns, committing tactics, but you're not earning levels for your characters. It's just they're straight, and it's more about the actual strategy of the play rather than building up characters and then using them into the strategy itself.
Yeah. It's chess, but usually with people that you romance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to romance the queen on the
Oh,
chessboard and I'm going to level her
risky
up.
move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going for it. I don't think anyone's just made chess with dating yet, which feels like it should be a
It has
big hit.
like it's going to happen at some point.
We could make that. Just make a
Yeah.
GVG like game firm and make chess with dating.
Yeah. We'll romance the queen, have your pawns go out and send out Valentines,
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
out chocolates.
But no, this is one of the coolest genres ever.
Mhm.
I think Fire Emblem was sort of what introduced me to this, but there's a lot more that I've grown to love. Unicorn Overlord from like 2 or 3 years ago
Oh yeah.
was just phenomenal. Like artistically amazing, but also the layers of depth that you can put into that game and the reward you get is just truly exceptional.
I've only played the demo for that so far. I want to get to it pretty soon. I find myself playing 13 Sentinels, which is also
Yeah.
kind of a strategy game, and it does have a few levels. I wouldn't say there is much of a necessity as others, but it's so wrapped up into almost the visual novel sense of it that it's also like one of those split genres.
It's a
But
hybrid, yeah.
yeah, but the visual style of the tactics is so different where it's like you wouldn't think it'd be engaging, but it kind of is. Like it's because it's so basic. But even beyond that, I mean, I started with I attempted first with Final Fantasy Tactics because I was huge into Final Fantasy 7. Didn't quite get it. Couldn't make any progress. As I've said multiple times, I didn't realize you could grind in that game because I just didn't get a random battle going back and forth in a limited space. So I had trouble. And then I decided to check out Disgaea. And Disgaea is the game that actually got me into strategy RPGs. And I've only played the first three of those games. But I mean, I definitely enjoyed them. And that allowed me to go back to Final Fantasy Tactics, which then led me over to Fire Emblem because of all the Smash stuff, and then branch out from there. Valkyria Chronicles is a huge one for me. It's still my favorite game on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
I like how different, like so many of these are so different from each other, how you address everything and how the strategy plays out.
The Valkyria Chronicles gave you this such a hands-on feel because usually it's you're like a god overseeing a board basically, whereas Valkyria Chronicles you're just hands-on. It's like a third-person game, even shooting in third person, but it's still got all the rules of a strategy game. And Codename Steam is basically the exact same game.
But I mean, that's why I was the only one in that room to flip out about Codename Steam.
Yeah, it's a good game.
It's really good. You should play it.
It is based just Valkyria Chronicles with historical figures.
Historical slash in the public domain figures.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're correct about that. I forgot about that. That alpha. There is no RPG element, so that is just strategy.
Oh, interesting.
Strategy.
Okay.
I forgot about that. It's been a while since I played Codename Steam.
We need a HD remake.
We do. It'll never happen. We'll never get that, but we should.
Yeah.
We deserve it. But yeah, there's it's interesting how there's also like some games that are like again in the that seem like strategy RPGs, but I don't know if I'd label them strategy RPGs. Like, have you ever played the Devil Survivor games from Shin Megami Tensei?
No, I haven't.
It's interesting because you have a grid, you're moving your characters on that grid to fight others, but the actual combat plays out like almost standard SMT, where you're choosing moves for your party and you play it out. So it's like mini battles, and then you have sort of the opposite, like your Rhapsodies, where you get into a random battle, but you use a grid in order to move around and have it more tactical base. It's funny how they play, like each RPG kind of plays with that sort of idea of like, do we go more strategy based and then go into regular combat? How do we mix and match?
Hmm. The Alpha Line's saying about Mario and Rabbids. The first one's definitely a regular tactical RPG, I'd say. The second one, Sparks of Hope, I think it is too for the most part.
I've not played that one, but I know they were both based on XCOM, and XCOM, I guess, kind of fits this because there is a little bit of XP that you get from
Yeah,
them, but it's also brutal. Like
yeah, it
you need
is.
to, it's multiple runs and just seeing how well you're, well, prepare to reset. Probably even more so than Fire Emblem if you actually want to just have a straight run through of that.
Yeah,
Um, but it's a fun genre. Like it's interesting. Like you have your mainstays, but when you break down and go into the further deeper into it, you can get some really cool uh games out of it. And there's a bunch that we're not even mentioning, and that's the fun thing of this is like if there's like a game in one of these genres that we did not mention, shout it out. It's I I think I remember I was when I did my PS1 RPGs that came out before Final Fantasy VII, just to sort of take a look at the landscape. There was a strategy RPG on the PS1. I can't remember. It's like something Knights or something like that. Um, I remember watching gameplay footage of it to just get a sense of it, and it's like, oh my god, this is so bloody! Like it was way more intense than I thought. I was like, oh my god, what is happening here? Um, so they can still shock you. There's definitely some hidden gems out there that to discover,
yeah,
and even if like I said, I didn't get into Final Fantasy Tactics, but this guy made me a fan, so I was able to go back to others. It's funny how it's like an offshoot, a game that's not in the big one that everybody talks about, could be the game that gets you into that genre.
yeah.
So, yep, strategy RPGs at number 7. Let's go ahead and jump over to number 6, which has another big jump, beating out strategy RPGs by 1,000 15 points.
God dang.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go with puzzle.
On
Puzzle.
puzzles.
Yes.
All right. At number 6, it's a kind of puzzle, I suppose. Metroidvania slash search action. I know
It's a puzzle if you really stretch the term.
you're puzzling where to go. You're
Yeah,
puzzling where to go. I
yeah.
stretch, you know me, I stretch these metaphors sometimes a lot.
I
Yes,
thought this would be a lot higher, actually.
I I wasn't sure because I remember I tried to do a Metroidvania focused show
Right.
early on for GVG. Um, and it didn't take off. It just didn't, like, I put a few out and it just was not hitting for people. So I kind of dropped it, which is a shame because I love this genre. It's
Yeah.
such a fun genre. There's you have of course you have your Metroids, your Castlevanias, your Hollow Knights, but there's so many that come out nowadays. It's it's
Yeah.
it's almost a flooded genre.
It's interesting because it didn't used to be like there were games that had like whispers of Metroidvania in them, but for I think that the big ones were always just sort of Metroid and Castlevania,
Mhm.
and then the people who played those games growing up started making games, and they're like, these this is my favorite game. The game I'm going to make is going to be in this genre, and so all of a sudden it's like it's so much of what the indie scene is just because people grew up loving this stuff. So what was quite isolated is now so big that the games that were inspired by them are bigger than the games that they were. Like Hollow Knight is significantly bigger than Metroid has ever been. If we're talking single titles, like nothing's ever come close to Hollow Knight or Silk Song with an actual Metroid game. So it's just it's nuts to see how it's evolved over the years.
Yeah, it's I think a big reason the Metroidvania moniker took off is because, well, they were the only game in town for a while. Like
Yeah,
you after you had these two massive titles critically with Symphony of the Night and Super Metroid, and then nothing came out that took advantage of that other than your GBA trilogy one
yeah,
for Castlevania, and then Fusion and Zero Mission for Metroid. And then you had, Metroid Prime on the GameCube, which definitely got it a lot more attention. Um, and then, then the indie started taking off with Cave Story. And
yeah.
that's where it kind of grew from that point. It's like you got that fans of Cave Story, which I don't even is only, in my opinion, a Metroidvania in the loosest sense of the term. It doesn't quite match it, but again, it was still the spark. It was still the spark that got everybody making these games. And now you have stuff like Animal Well, which here's a puzzle Metroidvania, or I'm blinking the pill bug dude that not pill bug, but the bug dude that rolls around something that's like pinball Metroidvania.
Yoku's Island Express.
That's it. Yoku's Island Express. You have
Yeah.
that one. You have your roguelike Metroidvania with Dead Cells.
Yeah.
There's just the mixing and matching of genres is super impressive.
It is, yeah. And it's always just cool to be just in this wild world, powerless, not really knowing where to go, and then getting that power creep where you just start to feel bigger and stronger, and all the stuff that used to be like overwhelming is suddenly now just blastable. You can just take anything apart, and just sort of gradually make your way through that spider web. It's always satisfying. There's nothing quite like a Metroidvania.
Yeah, it's just fun to go through. I don't know. It's something if you can capture that exploration element well, get that feeling of how much it expands upon. Yeah, it really does provide something that no other does. And it's difficult to do. It's hard to make a good map. It's why there's so few 3D Metroidvanias, which I do include in here.
Exactly. And I think as you were touching on, they can be any genre within the genre. Like there's platforming ones, like Ori's very platformy.
Yeah.
Then you've got like Prince of Persia, Lost Crown, which is it's platformy, but there's also a lot of combat in there. And Metroid these days is very combaty. So it's such an interesting blend because you can get the best of so many different genres in there.
Yeah, very much so. I see Press Play to Jason mentioned saying Shantae was a true resurgence of the genre. I don't think it's definitely a Metroidvania. I wouldn't call it a resurgence because that was such a cult classic, and I mean cult classic, where it was more rumored about than anything else, where it's like, oh, this is actually a really good late Game Boy Color title, but we missed out on it and we kind of discovered it late, and now we have to, it's hard to get back to. And then it wasn't until I think the sequels that it really started like becoming a bit more of a cultural element, where nowadays I'd say Shantae is much bigger than Cave Story. But historically, I think Cave Story was sort of that match.
Yeah.
To that idea. Yeah, it's a fun genre, but it's a tough genre to make. There's a lot of planning involved with that one, I feel.
You've probably only got a few favorite Metroidvania games, despite there being so many, because they're big, they're intimidating. Maybe there are people out there who just play Metroidvanias and nothing more, but I think most people probably just have a couple of favorites.
Yeah, or look out for those that get a lot of word of mouth and so forth. So, yeah, but yeah, Metroidvania / search actions at number 6. So let's move on to our top 5. And at number 5, it beat out Metroidvanias by 218 points.
It's actually really hard because there's so many genres, and some of the stuff we've had already isn't quite what I was expecting to be there.
Oh, okay.
But we don't have that many spaces left, so I'm going to go with 2D Fight. 2D Fighter.
2D Fighters. All right. At number 5, action RPGs.
Dang it. Okay.
Yeah. So this is your Kingdom Hearts. I'd say your Mass Effects definitely fits into that. Really, your Tales of is pretty much an action RPG.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Secret of Mana, all that stuff. Anything that where you're much more active. Your Ys, Fallout 3, and forward. Yeah. Basically where it's much more active combat, but you're still gaining experience. Technically, Symphony of the Night is an action RPG.
Yeah, I guess so.
Which is, again, the blending of genres.
Yeah. I don't typically gravitate to these ones quite as much. There's exceptions in there. I love Mass Effect. But a lot of like more traditional RPGs that try and get an action system, I don't usually gel with. But there are exceptions. Mana's a big exception there. But yeah, it's hit or miss for me.
Here's a fun conversation. Would you consider Final Fantasy VII remake slash rebirth an action RPG or a turn-based RPG?
I think action. Like there's a blend, but you're not really taking
Mm.
turns, are you?
I see. I would argue that it's turn-based because of the active time battle system that you have to build up that bar, then you get your turn to actually do real damage. So I think it's more turn-based. However, when you look at Final Fantasy 16, that's action RPG.
Yeah,
That
that
is
is
pure
action.
action
Yeah.
RPG. As you said, it's a blend, but I think there's just enough turn-based in Final Fantasy 7 remake to just barely get it into that genre.
Yeah. I think
But
a lot of people
that's
voting
semantics.
a lot of people voting probably saw Kingdom Hearts is in this category, and that's probably what drew them to it.
I mean, it is sort of the big modern action RPG.
Yeah.
But there's so many out there. Like Nihon Falcom has really taken off recently thanks to Trails in the Sky and so forth. Check out East. I believe
Yeah.
East 10 Proud Nordics is coming out soon. Give those games a look. Like the E series is so long lasting. It started out as bump combat, which is still action RPG. You're just running into the other character and doing damage based on your whether it's from behind or the side or all that stuff. Until today, where it has much more modern combat and still holds up. Still holds up great.
And people are saying Xenoblade in chat, which is crazy. I didn't think of, but yeah, it does
Yeah.
fit this mold.
Yeah, it's definitely more action based. There's again, it's a blending. Like
Yeah.
it's such a interesting style where it's like it is active, but it's also like, are you taking turns? But as well because you're waiting for that bar to fill up, sort of like Final Fantasy VII remake. And honestly, if we put Xenoblade as an action RPG, that kind of blows apart my argument for Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah.
So
I think I've used Xenoblade as action. Like there's cooldowns, but you're not really taking turns. But it is a cool blend though. That there's like being able to use those arts and mix them together. It feels less like you're actively hitting and more like you are in a menu. But yeah, in that way, it's kind of a cool blend of the two.
well, here just have some again the fun with how genres blend so much these days, and it's hard to say. Would you consider the Game Boy Mario Tennis games action RPGs? Same with Golf Story because they have RPG systems. It's action. You're having more actions with it. Or do we have another subcategory of sports RPG?
We might do. They're more they're sports games with an RPG dressing. Like everything that isn't the core game is an RPG, but you are leveling up. But it's really just it's a hub to get you into the sport. So I don't know if I count them as an RPG necessarily, but kinda.
Yeah, and there is the argument, as Downfall mentions, that RPG elements don't necessarily make it a full-fledged RPG. So
Because most AAA games have RPG elements these days.
Yeah, it's true. You beat enemies, you get the points, and you can do those skill trees that you love so much, John.
Oh, I love a good skill tree. I love how they find some graphic designer to make them look a little bit different every time. Love it.
Oh yeah, so much fun. But yeah, it is funny how RPGs have sort of seeped into so many other genres because it does make for that I don't know, somewhat satisfying way of you're getting stronger. It is a visual representation of getting stronger.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great examples out there, both Western and Japanese. Again, Mass Effect, Fallout, 3 on Skyrim.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's a broad term, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I tried to avoid being, Western RPG / JRPG. It's either turn-based or not, or action or not, that sort of thing. Anyway, action RPG at number 5. So let's move on to number 4, beating out action RPGs by 104 points.
Okay, I'm going to say platform fighter. I've said 2D fighter already. I still believe that might be around this point, but we'll mix it up with platform fighter.
All right, platform fighter. Well, you got one of the words right.
Oh,
2D platformers.
2D platformers.
Yep.
I knew 3D platforms would be ahead of these, but I thought this might be like neck and neck for the number one
Uh-huh.
spot. But I think with 2D platformers, I think if you asked this question 20 years ago, this will probably be like number one.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I think they in the AAA space especially, it's become less common for a 2D platformer to just wow people. Like Mario Wonder was great, but it like when you come to that evergreen legacy, it's I think we all look back on it and say we had a lot of fun with that, but it's not something we tend to. Well, at least I don't tend to replay very much. Whereas like
Mhm.
Mario World was my life for a very long time. Um, but that doesn't take away from how good they can be and how good they are.
Oh no, yeah. There's so many fantastic examples. The genre has been around since the inception of gaming.
Yeah,
I mean, all the way back to Pitfall. Um, if you want to go about that route, but of course you got the Mario Brothers, your Sonics, Celeste, as everybody points out, Donkey
yeah,
Kong Tropical Freeze, Donkey Kong Country in general.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, the Super Nintendo being the hub of you want your platform mascot, you got to put your platform mascot in here. So have your Bubsies, your Arrow the Acrobats, and Zero the Kamikaze Squirrels, all those.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers those characters. Um, so it's been kind of refined at this point where you have those where they're trying to find ways to still make them wow in a lot of ways. Like I'd say Freedom Planet
Yeah.
tries to go for like a way of trying to still wow people and make it memorable with that. Um, yeah, it's interesting how like where it comes down to, but you're right. It kind of lacks. It's fun, but it lacks the wow factor anymore.
We had that resurgence with the Wii and DS because they went
Mhm.
away for a while on consoles. The handhelds always kept them around. But with like New Super Mario Brothers and DKC Returns and Kirby's Return to Dreamland, platformers, like 2D platformers, were like it wasn't an old thing. It wasn't like hardware limitations made these 2D. It's like no, these were 2D because they're fun in this form. They're different to 3D. So it's cool to see them come back, and then we had like Rayman Legends do it as well, and
Yeah.
Origins. Sonic Mania's done it in like the last. I was gonna say recently. That's like 9 years ago now.
Yeah, 2017 is like, oh
Yeah.
my god, how is that so far long ago?
Yeah. But even
uh,
Celeste, like that was 2018, right? Like, that's eight
yeah, it
years ago.
was.
It's I would be with. It's been a while since a 2D platform has just really taken over people's minds.
Yeah, a pure 2D platformer
Yeah,
because you still have 2D with like something like Hollow Knight, but that's not much of a platformer. It's
yeah.
again more Metroidvania. Um, and yeah, it's funny to think of again. You can get some decent variety in there because you got Kirby who can just float all the time, which makes platforming a little different, or it can really not have platforming whatsoever in there, even though you're still a platformer, like with Starfy.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of my. I've been saying like it's a tricky one to blow up these days, but it's one of my favorite genres. Like
Oh yeah,
there's so many fantastic games, and
it,
the mechanics are different every time too. Like some of them are power up based, some of them are life based, and there's just so many things you can do with a platformer when it comes to the character, when it comes to the setting. You can make them grimy, you can make them colorful. There's
mhm.
just endless possibilities.
Ukulele and the Impossible Layer. Great example of that. You have
Fantastic.
that 3D style, but they
Yeah.
have like use that style in the book thoughts about how to change up the platforms and make each uh, the same level feel unique in your revisit with it being altered in some way. There's a lot of fun ideas that can be put in there, and to me, 2D platformers are a comfort genre, something I could easily go to anytime and
Yeah.
just lose myself in it. Do I think about it as much anymore? That's hard to say. I enjoy it when I play it, but I don't know if I get actively interested anymore unless it's something like huge, like if we got a Rayman Legends follow up or something of
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
idea, or well, with Mario Wonder, where it's like, oh, cool, 2D Mario with a good art style. Yes, I'm all about this.
Yeah, like Sonic still tries it. Like Superstars wasn't that long ago, but
Mhm.
like it was fine.
Yeah, yeah, it tried. Oh goodness, but yeah, 2D platformers at number 4. So let's continue on to our top 3, with number 3 beating out 2D platformers by, oh goodness, 580 ish,
Ouch.
580 ish points.
I'll go with this is probably number 2 or number 1, but I'll go with the turn-based RPGs.
Turn-based RPGs at number 3, 3D platformers.
Wow, I thought this was number 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
3D platformers at number 3. Now, maybe it's because I didn't go for the obvious examples. I tried to vary it up when I put examples, but I put, like, since Sly Cooper did so well, did Sly Cooper, A Hat in Time, a lot of these that are there. But of course, you got your 3D Sonics, you got your 3D Marios, you got. I feel like everybody knows those. Yeah,
yeah.
those are obvious. Um, but yeah, number 3 for these, and I mean, it's also kind of a comfort for me, It's just
Yeah.
easy to play these.
Well, there's so many there's layers to a 3D platformer because a lot of them
Mhm.
have like a single objective, like go here, do that. But the sandbox ones like Mario 64 and Mario Odyssey, they always have that extra layer of movement. And there's that gif going around that I see all the time where it's like, oh man, this game sucks, and it's just someone playing like a straight way. And there's another one that's saying like, oh, this is the best game of all time, and it's someone doing a triple jump and a long jump. And that's very true. Like what you put into these platforms is what you get out of them. Like if you go in and try and learn these advanced move sets, you're gonna have a far larger appreciation for what they do. Um,
Mhm.
and like it's like you can finish Mario 64 the normal way, and it can be one of your favorite games. You can have a great time, but you get people who still to this day live and breathe Mario 64, just because of its movement. Like, it's such a huge part of this, and 2D platformers just don't really register in that way.
Yeah, I mean, they took some of those moves from Mario 64 and put it into New Super Mario Brothers, like the triple jump and so
Yeah,
forth. Like it's to try to expand the move set a bit. But you had that was one of the brilliant aspects of Mario 64, is to have just that much more dynamic move set that Mario could perform. It's easy to see why developers like those behind Bubsy 3D looked at Mario and be like, shit.
yeah,
Just I was like, oh no, what do we do? Um, but again, just to take that idea and expand upon it, where you have back into PS2 era, something like the original Jack and Daxter, where here is this platforming idea, and hey, let's just make it so there's no borders whatsoever through levels. You don't jump through paintings to get through here, or do this, and you have like natural zones that just sort of like they're distinct, but they still sort of blend into one another to have a more cohesive experience, which is very impressive back in the day. And then you have a game like I didn't even think about this during 2D platformers. Crash Bandicoot, 2D or 3D platformer.
I mean
Probably,
it's 3D by definition, but it definitely the objective is the same as a 2D one though. It's like
yeah.
you're moving forward, which is the same as a side scroller, really, but it's
Mhm.
3D.
Yeah, it's mostly 3D. When people think Crash, I think they mostly think of running from the boulders, and that is certainly a 3D element
Yeah.
to it. Um, yeah, and then the indie space is filled with so many 3D platformers these days.
Yeah, it bewildered my mind when around the time Astrobot came out, people were like, "Oh, I've missed 3D platformers. No one's doing this besides Nintendo." And it's just not true. If you look at the indie space, there's nothing but 3D platformers. Every month, there's a new cool one coming out.
Mhm. Honestly, if you want to find some 3D platformers in the indie space, just check out Antude's bonus channel. I think
Yeah,
it's Antude Plus. Good God.
yeah,
And he plays them all. Like, this is his genre. So, um, yeah, just there's so much to play if you're just dying for something beyond the well known of like Hat in Time, or um, you know, I don't know if Penny's Big Break is a big one, but that's another one that's
It's a cool
got some
one though.
attention.
It's
Yeah.
there's been a second layer of 3D platformers after Odyssey where momentum became a big part of it, which is something like
Mhm.
weirdly Sonic's never really done it, despite being momentum based in his origins. But Penny's a really cool example of that, where like momentum's if you play the game just straight, I think you're not gonna have a good time. I think you're gonna come away saying that's a pretty boring game. But if you engage with the momentum and fully try and use the expression of that game's platforming, you're gonna love it.
Yeah. And I think that's the tricky part is like sometimes you do have that expressiveness and you have to engage a little bit more, which is not something most people are used to.
Yeah,
I when I play Mario 64, I can enjoy it on its base level, and I can do a few of the extra moves, but I wouldn't say I'm like amazing that I can do, perfectly timed triple jumps or spin jumps or what have you to reach certain places. I
right.
can kind of make it work, but it's clumsy. It looks amateurish, but there it is. Um, so yeah, just a ton out there. I wish I could name more, but honestly, just check out Antude Plus.
Yeah.
You'll find videos of him just
Always
talking
check
about
out
so many
Antutu
3D.
Plus,
Yeah.
regardless of what we're talking about. Just have it on in the background.
Perfect. So yeah, 3D platformers at number 3. All right, John, we're down to our final two. And number 2 beat out the 3D platformer by 506 points.
I actually don't think I know. Like I know turn-based RPG must be here, but the other one I don't know. Oh,
I,
action adventure, I suppose. Action adventure.
at number 2, action adventure. I was
I
like, if
got
you
one.
really think about it, I think you'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if nothing else, Zelda. If nothing else, Zelda. Like
Yeah,
it's
you got Zelda in there, and you
yeah,
got stuff like Tomb Raider in there. It's it helps that it's probably one of the most broad genres.
yeah. Growing up, there was always this debate about whether Zelda's an RPG. I think it's just because it has, when you compare the tropes of them, it's like you go to towns, you solve problems, but the actual gameplay, like there's no RPG elements in
Yeah.
anything but like Zelda
It
2.
it's
It's Breath of the
inspired by
Wild, not
RPGs, but it
really.
doesn't have those RPG elements. That was sort of its key idea from the beginning.
Yeah, but that's it. It's just about going on an adventure. I think a lot of games when they get branded as action adventures, it's a loose term. But
Very much so.
Zelda's very clear. It's just you're going on an adventure. Um, you're not like you kind of do what is. I mean, you do what is expected of you. Basically, it's just like you're on your path saving the world. It's not a turn-based RPG. You're not leveling up. You're not platforming. It's just you're in the wilderness. I think that's kind of how I think of them.
Yeah, it's like I labeled Tomb Raider as an action adventure, but I think I used Uncharted as a third person shooter.
Right.
And even
Yeah.
though people often call it Dude Raider, but it's like I feel like there's more shooting than adventuring going on in a game like
Yeah.
Uncharted.
I think Uncharted is more a third-person shooter. Yeah. What about
Yeah.
the original Tomb Raiders? Do you see them as 3D platformers, or do you see them as action adventure?
I've never gotten far in any of them because I was always kind of bad at the original Tomb Raider. Um,
Because
I go with action adventure
personally,
because there are definitely some puzzle elements to it.
yeah, personally, I'd see the new games as action adventure, but I think the original ones I kind of see as platformers. But it's a hybrid genre.
I can see that. Yeah, it's definitely close enough where you're not, you know, there's platforming, but it's a little awkward. There's some shooting, but it's a little awkward.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
puzzle solving. um, Shadow Natalie with Shadow of the Colossus. That's an excellent example of action adventure.
absolutely, yeah,
That's that's perfect. Um, and yeah, I'm trying to think of like other like really notable ones.
yeah. It's a
Uh,
genre I struggle to define, but I know when I see it.
exactly. It's like you have your big examples, but when you like I'm just gonna just glance over here at my what I have as far as my other games. Just trying to pick out one that kind of fits like action adventure and um hmm
Like Beyond Good and
Okami.
Evil, that's an action
Okami.
adventure.
Beyond Good and Evil. Yeah,
Yeah.
Star Fox Adventure. So you get your Zelda
Yeah.
likes. Definitely fits into that. Here's a good one. Katamari Damacy. Is that action
Yeah.
adventure?
Yeah. It's either action adventure or its own Katamari genre.
Yeah, exactly. Its own little thing. I was just looking through. It's like, oh wait,
Yeah.
what is that all about? Yeah, it's again, genre is weird. You can. It's very easy to label some things, but then you look at others. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's funny. Really, uh, trying to label it as one thing or the other, which is why it was really tough actually coming up with how many genres I should create for this. Um, but yeah, I think if I had to label Katamari Damacy as anything, I'd probably go with action adventure. It's closest.
Yeah.
It works. But yeah, it's funny how you put that. It's like, yeah, you know it when you see it, but it's hard to just like pull it out
I
off the top of your
trying
head.
to define it earlier, and I was at a loss for words. It's a tricky one, but yeah,
Yeah,
you know when you see it.
yeah. It's funny that. All right, let's get to our number one gaming genre of all time, beating out the action adventure genre by 250-ish points.
Yeah, so that's turn-based RPG.
Number one is turn-based RPG. And honestly, I expected this. We have seen RPGs dominate a lot of these lists. Like our audience loves RPGs. You got your
Yeah,
Final Fantasies, you got your Dragon Quest, you got Claire Obscure is in this. Of course, because that is absolutely a turn-based RPG. You got your Paper Mario's, your Mario and Luigi's, to go into that um kind of thing. Like there's so
yeah.
many classic uh turn-based RPGs out there.
But they're so easy to engage with as well. I find a lot
Mhm.
of action RPGs get quite exhausting after a while, but a turn-based one, there's no rush, there's no pressure. You can just get into it. You can do other things in the background, like
Mhm.
especially on the handhelds, which is where they thrived on like Game Boy Advance and DS. Um, they're great things to just chip away at. Um, and you see even today, like you think about turn-based RPGs, and I think maybe you think about the classics like Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger and all those and Dragon Quest, but a lot breakthroughs are coming through all the time,
Mhm.
both in terms of niche and also just mainstream. Like Persona and Expedition were they're huge
Yeah.
cultural impacts. Um,
And why I've not personally been that into it, Sea of Stars was pretty big. Like people
yeah,
really took to that game. And what is able to do. It's I I found myself like I was for the longest time I wasn't the biggest fan of grinding in RPGs, but
mhm,
it's funny how Dragon Quest One on NES broke that for me. Is where it's like I kind of could just zen out to
yeah,
it, or kind of becomes um, therapeutic in its own way.
yeah,
And just thinking about that, because the initial draw to me was I was a voracious reader as a kid, but I also loved playing video games. So when my friend introduced me to Final Fantasy VII, here's a video game that basically plays out like a novel. Yes, please. Like
yeah,
that just made me a fan. I made me want to find every JRPG I could find, and at the time JRPG, and just because they were the ones doing it, and just find out what its stories were and see what happened next, and dive into its combat systems and so forth. It was just super engaging.
yeah. I think a big part of our love for turn-based RPGs is a lot of it's just we spend a long time with the games. Because it's a kind of gameplay style that can just go on for hours and hours and hours. You can tell a pretty condensed story, but with all the combat and the grinding and everything else in between, it stretches out. So you form like really strong memories to a lot of these games. Um, and whether it is because of good story, good characters, good mechanics, whatever else, it just sticks with you more than pretty much any other genre does. So it doesn't necessarily matter if it's like the best game of all time. It's just there's so many um, moments that stick with you in a way that I don't think any other genres tend to do.
Yeah, and it could also be the site of just some fantastic world building
Yeah,
because it has the time in a lot of cases to build out that world. You look at again Clair Obscur, Metaphor, great examples. Trails probably is one of the best examples of like slowly building out your world to just expand further and further, and have from what I hear, you have this very small scale story with the original Trails in the Sky, and by the time you get to the latest games, it's just like you have this entire continent that you've slowly learned about and now know what you're dealing with and can understand and enjoy,
Yeah.
and to be able to take that story like approach of slowly just pulling back the curtain
Mm.
and showing more and more is something special. There's other genres that can do stuff like that, but they're not known for it, you know.
Yeah. I think that there was a period where being turn-based was almost something to avoid, I think, from publishers. Like they maybe saw it as too simple, and every RPG was action for a long time. But you think about big turn-based RPGs in the 360 and Wii era, not many come to mind. Like Lost
Oh,
Odyssey. What else comes to mind? Not a whole lot more else for me, at least.
yeah,
Um,
I think even Mistwalker's own last story, that wasn't turn-based
no,
either,
that
was
wasn't
it?
turn-based. That was
No.
action. Yeah. And it's become a lot more common lately, but I think there was the stigma that like we've done turn based. What more can you do? But it's just not true. There's always new wrinkles you can add or flavors to it. And I mean, Expedition 33 with its parrying, like it's basically Paper Mario again. It's not a new concept, but
No.
they really made it feel special and unique.
Yeah, it's as once again, Plus Player Jason points out in the chat, saying it's after the 2000s, turn-based RPGs were considered outdated, or in Square's case, they thought they had to have as much detail as the rest of the games. You want to have that realism, which even Final Fantasy X delved into, where you don't have this overworld anymore, where the
Yeah,
characters are bigger than the towns themselves as you go into it. You can't break that realism, but then it becomes almost impossible to carry through that, to have that,
yeah.
to maintain that idea.
I mean, Final
And
Fantasy is like the poster child for this because they want to redefine themselves every time, but it gets to the point where when you keep redefining yourself, what personality do you still have of your own? And like Bravely Default basically took over from core Final Fantasy, and
mhm,
now Octopath kind of has as well, and Dragon Quest is there. It's not like Square doesn't have turn-based RPGs, but yeah, Final Fantasy is
it,
just sort of
it,
lost in this experimental realm.
yeah, I think Final Fantasy 17 is going to be very curious because
Yeah.
16 was sort of a mixed reception, from what I could tell, and I think there's been enough demand that they might actually try to look into that. I know they've tried to go broad, but you can look at the success of some of these other games and be like, can make this seven. I almost wonder if 17 they might go back at least a little bit to turn based.
I think there's a strong chance they do. Yeah, yeah. After the success of Clair Obscura, I think they definitely are looking at that now. There are fans for every Final Fantasy, but I think the fans for like 7 and 9 and 6 they are the loudest and the strongest, and 10.
Yeah.
And the core line between all of those is turn based.
Yeah, turn-based and just and it turn-based feels like Final Fantasy. It was always more action-packed than other games because of the active time battle system. You got that introduced in I believe it was Final Fantasy 4. So that led to an extra level of stress. And
Mm.
it's interesting to see how the genre has sort of evolved with that to try to find that level of tactics with how exciting you make your combat. And there are definitely hurdles around all that, considering you some people love pointing out Grandia's battle system, where you can actively shift and have that go all around. But then you go to PS2 era, and uh, I'm currently playing through the original Xenosaga, and those animations take so long. Like they're
Yeah,
impressive, but good God, it's so
it's
slow.
it's a problem with the GameCube Pokemon Colosseum games, XD and Colosseum. They are very slow games
Mhm.
because they're 3D now, so they want them to seem expressive and action packed. It's like, come on, get on with this.
Yeah, it definitely takes a while.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I I I was wondering. I wasn't sure where Baldur's Gate 3 landed. I wasn't sure if that's turn based or more computer RPG, which is how I labeled the rest of it. Where it's like
It's
that's
difficult.
computer RPG to me was like Fallout 1s and 2s and so forth.
Yeah, it's turn based. I mean, you take turns, but it's not really what I think of when I think turn based RPG. I think
Yeah,
CRPG is kind of the good term out for
yeah.
lion.
So yeah, turn-based RPG at number one. I had a feeling. I had a feeling. I've seen our fan base really, really take to this genre over the course of all these polls. So not too surprising there. But this is a lineup that I think makes sense for our audience. I think the biggest surprise actually is 3D action platformer.
Yeah, it is for sure. But we have always known that our audience loves RPGs. That's not been something we've neglected.
No, no. Why do you think I do those videos on Dragon Quest? But what do you say we take a look at what else, how everything else placed,
Yeah, I'm
John?
very curious where so there's a few fighting subsets which we haven't seen. And also like life sim I think must be pretty high up there, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah. At number 11, 2D fighters.
Okay. Yeah.
It was very close. It actually only missed out the number 10 spot by 14 points. It was super close.
I'm actually more curious where 3D fighters landed because I think 2D fighters is an obvious one for like making or almost making the list. 3D fighters is a bit more of a jumble.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see the shift between 2D and 3D fighters because early 2000s, late 90s, 3D fighters were it. Like
Yeah.
that was the in thing. It was passe to be a 2D fighter, and nowadays it's all 2D fighters almost. I think Tekken is like the only like real big 3D fighters out there. I guess Dead or Alive is coming back, so that's nice.
True. Yeah.
But
yeah,
yeah,
thanks Street Fighter 4.
yeah, Street Fighter 4 really turned it, which is great because for people who love 2D fighters, well, they were kind of out the dry unless you had a Japanese import because they were
Yeah.
still coming out there, but not over here. So, but yeah, it doesn't surprise me 2D fighting's up here. So, especially with Street Fighter 6 and Guilty Gear Strive being so big, right? Virtual Fighter 5. That's the Virtual Fighter is also the other big one for 3D fighters, but that's not as huge in the States. Number 12, platform fighters.
Okay. Yeah. I thought this might
It's
make the list even just because Smash is as big as it is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was curious. Is Smash Brothers big enough to carry platform fighters across the finish line? I know there's other ones. Like I think there's like a Digimon platform fighter. There's like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles platform fighter. Onimusha had a platform fighter for some reason.
I don't think I knew I had a platform fighter. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think Onimusha has. I think it's Onimusha Blade Warriors.
Wow, okay, I gotta play
You
that.
can play as Mega Man .exe in that. That's
Yeah, I
weird.
gotta play that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wild.
But of course, indies are also picking up here with Rivals of Ether.
Yeah.
Multiverses did well until they completely screwed up the whole project.
Mm. But it's such a cool genre though. Because first of all, it's fun, but it doesn't have that complexity of a regular fighter. Like every move does what you think it will do. So like it's so pick up and play. You don't have to like universally learn every character in the same way you would like a regular fighter. But then you can really just jive and understand how it all works, and anyone can pick up and play. But the skill ceiling's still high.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to pick up there for a lot of the characters and how they're all structured and whatnot. And it's interesting to see how much of that simplicity of the platform fighter is starting to find itself into 2D fighters, because that's basically modern controls for Street Fighter 6, where you just direction and a button, and that does a move. And I think that's just the default way to do like 2XKO, for example. So it's just it's a nice way to bring in a more casual audience without having to learn the quarter circles and the half circles and all the pretzel motions that you might have to do if you're doing some of those other games. So
Unless you're putting Ryu in Smash, in which case you still got to learn the quarter circles and the half circles.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Sakurai has proven himself to be very much an old school fighter fan, so he's going to have that in there. At number 13, 2D action platformers, your Castlevanias, your Ninja Gaidens, and so forth. Yeah, I have no problem with this. I love Castlevania. The Ninja Gaiden's hard as hell, but it's still fun.
Yeah, yeah. I think it makes sense this doesn't make the top 10. Like, there's
Mhm.
fantastic Castlevania games, fantastic Ninja Gaiden games, but I think there's more stuff in a regular platformer that would put this ahead of action platformer.
Yeah, I think so. And it has seen a bit of resurgence. Shinobi Art of Vengeance has pointed out. There's also the newest Ninja Gaiden, Ragebound, which was quite
Yes.
good. Like uh there's a few other, actually it's funny how ninjas kind of take up the action the 2D action platformer space, because there's an older like ninja game where you like plotted out your like perfect run and you like did it like in slow motion and then you push play and then it like played out in
Oh
full
wow.
speed.
Yeah.
I forget what game that was. uh but yeah, it's it's just a classic. It's just a classic in that regard, and tends to be where you kind of get some of your most difficult games as well. I guess Mega Man kind of fits in
I,
that.
I think he is an
Yeah,
action platformer. Yeah.
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 It because Mega Man is it's sort of strides that line between that and something like Contra.
Yeah.
So less of a shooter. Uh, yeah, Kid Icarus NES would probably be an action platformer. It makes
True.
sense.
Yeah.
All right. At number 14, visual novels, only behind 2D action platformers by 1 point, by the way. It was
I'm not
close.
surprised this is so high up. Visual novel fans are ravenous.
Oh yeah, they are. Again, what was that? Higurashi, that was in the like top of all time. That's
Hmm.
shocked us, like actual dark horse, um, getting in there. But yeah, this is your more traditional. Again, not really having as much pull as far as where the story goes outside a few choices, or if, as far as how the gameplay goes. So Steins Gate, Doki Doki Literature Club, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's also like everyone
Uh,
has the same experience as well, so it's very easy to talk about. It's not like you missed this thing or you had a different experience or different route or something. Like it's
mhm.
like a universal thing that people can latch onto. So it's yeah, it's not shocking.
Oh, Umineko is what it was. Although I think I'm not sure if that's into the mystery novel side of things. I'm now thinking about the genre. Um, Actually, speaking of visual novels, again, you talk about how it's rigid. 13 Sentinels is not rigid, even though it's kind of a visual novel itself
Yeah.
and how it's structured. But it is, everybody has a different playthrough of that game, which is insane.
Mm.
Speaking of different playthroughs, number 15, the roguelike.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
I just
every
left it to
time this
people. It's
genre
like,
comes up,
if you
we're
consider
like,
a roguelike, good for you. It's like
yeah,
I just tossed in Hades, Mystery Dungeon, and Dead Cells as examples. It's like, if you feel like it has roguelike elements, good, there you go. Pop it
yeah.
in there.
But there are a few roguelikes that grasp me, but some do. Hades, huge one.
Mhm.
Crypt of the Necrodancer, I loved as well. I played that in like preparation for Cadence of Hyrule, and it really hooked me. And then Cadence of Hyrule, I loved as well. But it's cool when roguelike elements are like put into a game that isn't really a roguelike.
Mhm.
Like God of War Ragnarok had like a roguelike mode, and it was cool. It was cool to like sort of mix this stuff together.
Yeah, I point back to, I haven't had a chance to play Absalom yet, but that still stands out as one to me. It's like, you want to beat him up, here you go. But it's a good idea because they had like a roguelike mode. There's like roguelike modes put into beat 'em ups before, like with uh Shredder's Revenge,
Yeah,
later on Streets of Rage 4, and then the people who made Streets of Rage 4, at least some of them, went on to make Absalom. So let's make this a full game. People enjoyed this.
Natalie
It's a
says, "How
good
many
idea.
roguelike fans have played Rogue?" Two.
Yeah, exactly. Took me forever to even realize that Rogue was even a game.
Yeah. Alpha Lion says DK Bonanza as DLC rogue. Like it does, it does.
Yeah.
I actually grew to like it. That
Oh,
mode.
okay.
So it seems basic. You're sort of regurgitating content. It shouldn't have been as expensive as it was, but Bonanza has the potential for cool roguelike stuff as it so happens that you can get
Yeah.
really into
It's
that mode.
it's a genre that's easy to implement.
Yeah,
Easy to implement, but it blends in others very well. Not everybody likes that being blended like that, but it can work.
yeah. Rogue is on
Um,
Switch. I don't think I knew that, Natalie.
I don't think I realized that either. Of course, I think Wizardry is like on Switch as well.
Wow.
Balatro, yeah, Balatro is a great example for
Yeah.
roguelike. And how it just blends into other genres. Um, I mean, technically, Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, I'd say that's a roguelike. Yeah,
Yeah,
are randomizers roguelikes?
kinda.
In a
I
way,
mean, I guess you don't have to restart as much, but
yeah.
I guess it all depends. But yeah, there's some element of it there.
What about
Uh,
Pokemon playthroughs? I forget what it's called when
oh,
you
Nuzlocke.
Nuzlocke. Are they roguelikes?
Kinda, because I guess it changed. You somewhat changed up by how much you what Pokemon you get.
Yeah,
So and
kind
what
of.
abilities they have and so forth. So kind of. Let's see. 16 first person shooters. Your
Okay, yeah.
Halos, your Dooms, your Call of Duties, your Half-Lives, you know.
Half Life's an
Do
interesting one. It's kind of action adventure as well, just in first
it kind of
person, but
is.
it's a mix. Yeah,
It's funny. I don't think of our audience too often with first person shooters, but I
yeah,
think it's one of those like again kind of comforts. Like, yeah, I'll play a first person shooter. I like these.
yeah.
17 Rhythm.
I thought this would be higher, mostly
Mhm.
because of Rhythm Heaven fans. 'Cause I know we got quite a
Yeah.
lot of them in the audience.
And I popped, I put Rhythm Heaven an example. Theater Rhythm, Guitar
Yeah.
Hero is a rhythm game. Your
Yeah,
Miku games.
going
Yeah.
to bars or arcades that have a lot of Japanese imports, you're going to see so many cool rhythm games, like stuff I can't pronounce, stuff I've never heard of before, but there's so many cool things there. Stuff that uses your hands for motion control, stuff that has like screens that go all the way around. Like it's a wild genre.
Yeah. They definitely try to give that sort of immersion
Yeah,
anymore for that genre in particular. Number 18, the puzzle genre, which might be a little too broad for me, but I put stuff like Tetris, Puyo Puyo, Lemmings in there.
yeah.
Basically, you're solving puzzles.
Yeah, if you were to like subdivide them, I think single player puzzle and competitive puzzle are kind of different genres, but they wouldn't rank any higher.
Yeah, no, I probably just would have split the vote even further, so it
Yeah,
wouldn't have gotten that much higher.
one of my favorite genres though, but not surprising that it's quite far back.
Yeah. Number 19, survival horrors.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I'm a bit surprised that this didn't overtake a few of them.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be a little higher, but I think the just in general horror is a little harder to get into for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's
You
not
don't
for
want to get
everyone.
Yeah, you don't want to get too scared. It's not something you can just easily jump into. You kind of have to be in a mood for thing or just be a degenerate like me where I just enjoy horror. I
It's
actually did think
always
about just straight horror as a genre, but
yeah.
I couldn't think of enough examples. I was like, yeah, I'll just toss it all into survival.
They're very memorable though, a survival
Mhm.
horror. Like even if you're quite scared of just horror stuff, I think it's stuff like if you find a game like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, if you play like one of them, I think you're probably going to remember a lot of parts of that game if it's a struggle for you to overcome, which is
Mhm.
very memorable and just creates these memories that would probably rank it higher in my opinion, but it's where it is.
Yeah. I mean, Resident Evil 1 might be as, goofy as all get out as far as the dialogue, but you won't forget that dog jump scaring you.
No, exactly. It just stays with you.
Yep. Number 20, hack and slash, which I included stuff like God of War, Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, those
Yeah.
type of games where it's honestly you could just call it pure action, but it's fine.
Yeah. It's
It's
a little rarer these days outside of Devil May Cry, which isn't
yeah,
even these days. Devil May Cry 5 was how long ago now?
a while ago.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 3 was definitely a while ago.
Yeah.
Hi-Fi Rush kind of fits in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Platinum definitely kept this genre a while alive for a while. It's not as common anymore. I can't really think of any off the top of my head in the more recent sense.
Do we count Dynasty Warriors as hack and slash or not really?
Yeah, I guess Dynasty Warriors is Ninja Gaiden 4 actually. I did forget about Ninja
Well,
Gaiden
that's true.
4.
That is true. Sorry, Natalie.
Um yeah, kinda. I'm trying to think what else the other genre would be, but it kind of is just hack and
It's
slash.
kind of its own genre, but there's hack and slash in there.
Yeah. But I'm not just going to call a genre the Muso genre,
Yeah.
even though there's enough games, but it really is. It's kind of like Mystery Dungeon. It's supported by one company.
Yeah. What makes some Muso likes.
Yeah. Uh, that'd be something. I mean, I guess Capcom tried with that Sengoku Basara.
Uh-huh.
So but then nobody else has tried. So, number 21, puzzle platformers, stuff like Portal, Captain Toad, where, you know, you're solving puzzles, but you're also platforming a little bit in there. So,
Yeah,
pretty
and
simple and
these
fun.
ones almost always stick. Like Portal and well, and Portal's a huge one. My wife recently replayed them like back to back, and she doesn't play games that much. But like one morning she was playing Portal 1, the next time I looked she's already on Portal 2. It's such a like a universally understandable thing.
Yeah, it's as long as you don't get motion sick, you can really enjoy the Portal games. They're a lot
Yeah.
of fun. I guess you're right, down off the line. Donkey Kong 94 and the Mario versus Donkey Kong games would fit into puzzle platformers.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. So yeah. 22, third person shooters. Your
Hmm.
Gears of War, your Uncharted, so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not much else to say about it.
I like a third person shooter, like Resident
Yeah,
Evil 4, I guess if you want to bend it with horror or action or third person shooter, it's kind of both.
yeah.
Splatoon, yeah, that's true.
Splatoon, yeah, that's
But
another big one.
I think it's rarer that there's a breakout third person shooter compared to a first person shooter. Kid Icarus Uprising too,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Number 23, turn-based strategy. So this is your strategy without any level ups. So your advanced wars, your worms.
Okay.
Uh, actually, I had a hard time thinking of even examples beyond this because a lot of them just really do add RPG elements to them.
Yeah, I can't think of that many.
So, but I was like, there's still enough there that we'll break it down a little bit. And still did well. Number 24, sandbox games. So your Red Dead Redemptions, your your Grand Theft Autos, Saints Row, so forth. Nice big sandbox you just mess around in.
Yeah. And this is another thing where like, you spend hours and hours and hours in these games. So it's no question like why like GTA and Red Dead are so popular. It's just so easy. It's so easy for these to be like the only things you play.
Oh yeah, you could get lost in them. Number 25, life sims. So that's Animal Crossing, your Disney Dreamlight Valley, that sort of
Or
thing.
Tamagotchi life.
Tamagotchi life. Yeah, I guess Minecraft is probably would be included in it. Minecraft is hard to put down as like as far as like I put it as part of the survival genre, but I guess it is also sandbox. I like it fits multiple.
Yeah.
But yeah, life sims at 25 makes sense. It's definitely a popular genre. Just sort of again another one you can just lose yourself in. 26, computer RPG. So Baldur's Gate 3, Disco Elysium, honestly, the old school Baldur's Gate as well.
Mm.
Your Neverwinter Nights, stuff like that.
Yeah. This is stuff that probably isn't so much our audience. So I can
Yeah,
understand why
we
this is
don't
so far back.
our audience doesn't have much of a computer bent to them. It
No.
seems like not much of a PC background.
But Baldur's Gate 3 alone does a lot of heavy lifting for the
Yeah.
relevance today.
But it makes it all the more interesting that it beat out number 27 at number 27 3D fighters.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's what you're getting at though. Like Tekken dominates this field, and we have Virtua Fighter 5 and Dead or Alive coming back. But it's and we got like anime fighters too, but it's not really
Yeah.
enough.
But anime fighters, I get more people would put as the arena fighters. It's not
Oh, that's
really
true. Yeah.
not as much. And that used to be again, you had your Bloody Roars, your Fighting Vipers, so many that just dominated the space for a while. Bannerina Toshinden. And maybe they'll get a resurgence with them coming like more 3D fighters getting a boost to come back.
Is Power Stone a 3D fighter or a platform fighter?
It's almost an arena fighter.
It's kind of all three.
It's kind of all of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of all of them except for 2D. Good luck classifying some games. Yeah. And I guess the same goes for I have yet to be able to play like Rival Schools. I know there's 3D elements to it, but it almost looks more 2D-ish in how it plays, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Number 28. Here's your adventure genre. Your Monkey Islands, your pajama. I put the humongous games in here because they're pretty much adventure games. So your Pajama Sam and Putt Putt and all that.
I love a good adventure game. And the indie scene right now, like they've disappeared in like the mainstream consciousness, but indies are making some fantastic adventure games.
I've heard about that. A lot of mystery games as well. It sort of
Yeah,
fits that genre quite well. We just had the new Monkey Island game from, what was it, Return to Monkey Island or something like that from one, Ron Gilbert, one of the original creators,
yeah.
which is great. And you can find a lot of the collections as well. You will get stuck. It's very easy to just like, I'm just going to consult a guide for a lot of these games because it really does come down to hit this with this and try to get a result.
Yeah. To shout out an upcoming one, we've got the sequel to Tangled Tower coming up,
Oh,
Mermaid's Mask.
I cannot wait for that. I'm
Yeah,
excited for that. I love Tangle Tower.
I think that's in the Steam Next demos in like a week. So yeah,
Ooh,
check that out.
definitely
Um,
checking that out.
but there's great stuff out there. Locomotive is a really cool one that came out like last year, I want to say.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there's always fantastic indie adventure games.
Yeah. Gonna have to pick up the pace a little bit here, but number 29 is puzzle adventure games. So stuff like I would consider Ghost Trick, or even the first person sense of it, Admanda the Adventurer,
Yeah,
where you're in a space, you got to figure out a puzzle, but it's you know, not as, there's no platform involved. You're just figuring out the puzzle in this 3D space, or in this space that you got to figure out. Number 30, arcade racers like Burnout,
wow.
Need for Speed,
I
Split
wish this was
Second.
higher, but there aren't enough these days. That's the
There's not
problem.
enough. Yeah. Like we got Cruise and Blast, and that's the last one I can think of.
Forza Horizon, does that count?
Forza Horizon. Yeah, I think that kind of counts.
Hmm.
It's close enough. Yeah, Daytona USA is absolutely arcade racing. Um, I guess that new Star Wars game that just got announced kind of
Yeah.
fits it. And I heard it's ex Burnout Dev, so that's one to keep an eye on, honestly. Number 31, Farm Sims. So your Stardew Valleys, Harvest Moon, Story of Season, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So 32, card games. So Pokemon TCG, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Adaptations, Marvel Snap, Hearthstone.
Yeah.
Those
Hit
type
or
of
miss
games.
genre for me, but I know some people love this stuff.
It's easy to get. It's easy to get into, but it's also like not something I constantly go back to. Although, if we ever did get a localized version of Pokemon TCG 2 for the Game Boy, I would probably definitely play through that.
It'd be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 33, real time strategy. So StarCraft,
RTSs, yeah.
Warcraft, Command and Conquer, those type of
Pikmin?
games. Huh?
Pikmin? Does
Pikmin?
that count as an RTS?
I didn't play with it because I wasn't sure what to put it as. So I let people decide that for themselves.
I think Pikmin 1, 2, and 3 are RTSs. Pikmin 4, maybe not.
Is Pikmin 4 more action adventure?
I think so. I think it is.
Okay. I've only played Pikmin 1 and 2, but Pikmin 1 and 2 definitely feels more like an RTS in its ways. Number 34, board games. So I put together stuff like Mario, obviously Mario Party, Sonic Shuffle, but also threw in actual board games. Like this is where you'd put like the digital versions of
Monopoly.
Monopoly and so
Yeah.
forth, and even modern games like Wingspan and stuff like that.
Yeah. Duckapon and Fortune Street. They're doing the heavy lifting here.
Yep, obviously. 35, the beat 'em up genre. So Streets of Rage, Final Fight, uh, Golden Axe, all those.
Yeah. I didn't think this would be anywhere near the top 10.
No, it wouldn't be near the top 10 because they tend
That's
to be
fine.
also very short.
Yeah.
But they're also really fun.
Yeah,
Like
they are very
they're
fun.
they're mindless and a nice burst.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Especially when having someone with you. Like on your own, I think they can get a little bit dull, but when you've got someone else with you, they can be a lot of fun.
Yeah. 36, 4X strategy. So stuff like Civilization, Masters of Ryan. Really, Civilization is the one kind of propping this one up the most.
Yeah.
Um, 37, the stealth genre. That's interesting. It's so low. It's like this much lower.
I feel like it
Metal
should
Gear
be a
Solid,
lot
Splinter
higher.
Cell, but there's not a lot of stealth games out there anymore.
Wind Waker is a stealth game for a little bit.
And I think everybody kind of groans when there's like a stealth section, like in Wind Waker.
I like them sometimes. Like they're not universally bad.
Yeah. 38, survival games. So I put Minecraft because there's a survival elements to it. Don't Starve is a big one.
Yeah.
There's those type of games where they just drop you in and craft your way to survival and keep yourself fed.
Yeah.
Good luck. Number 39, romance simulations. So you got your old school like Tokimeki Memorial, or you're something modern like Date Everything. Basically, visual novel where you date.
Cool. Yep.
um, Number 40, here's what MMOs are. MMOs, RPGs.
Surprising, but kind
Uh,
of not, I guess, at the same time.
yeah, for our audience, I think it makes sense. Like, there's definitely an audience for something like those games, but just not commonly within our audience.
Yeah.
Um, Number 41, futuristic racers, your F Zeros, your Wipeouts, Extreme G, stuff
Yeah.
like that. 42, interactive films, stuff like Dragon's Lair, Heavy Rain, most David Cage games, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they pretty much are. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 43, construction genre. So Sim City, Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you're just sort of, I guess, also kind of management in its own way.
Yeah. Another thing that's kind of the late 90s, early 2000s. It's not so prevalent these days.
Yeah, not so much. 44 is tower defense.
Hmm.
So Plants vs. Zombies being one of the big ones. 45, dungeon crawlers. So old school will go with wizardry, modern, or like Etrian Odyssey, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
So Mystery Dungeon, do you put here?
I put Mystery Dungeon under roguelike.
I wrote, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Lost my spot. Number 40. Oh, tied. Actually, Dungeon Crawler tied at 45 with hero shooters like Marvel Rivals and Overwatch.
Okay. Yeah. Team Fortress 2, I suppose, is a hero shooter as well.
Yeah, kind of is. Um, at 47, minigame collections like WarioWare and 1-2 Switch.
Hmm.
48, grand strategy, stuff like Hearts of Iron and Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Total War, games that are far too complicated for me and I don't
Yeah.
touch. 49, shoot 'em ups like Ikaruga, Gradius, and Geometry
I
Wars.
wish this was higher.
I
I
think it's
love a
the
good shoot 'em up.
difficulty definitely pulls people back. So it's like
I'm bad at most of them, but I always have a good time trying my
they're
best to get
literally
like A
called
levels
bullet
in.
hells. So it's like, you know what?
Yeah.
50, management. I didn't know where to put Sims. Like, cause you're
Yeah.
not constructing them, but it's its own sort of thing. But you got the Sims, you got Football Manager, stuff like that, where you just sort of take control of something, but you're not building anything.
Mhm.
Although I guess you build a house in the Sims. Whatever. It is what it is. 51, rail shooters like Time Crisis, The House of the Dead, and Star Fox tied with. This was a shock to me to see what's so high. This so high. Sports stuff
Oh,
like Madden, NBA, hockey.
yeah. Right.
I
Arcade sports, I think, make more
I
sense
have that
to us.
separate.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
so sports was scored higher than arcade sports.
it did. It
Shocking.
did. Very shocking. Okay, I'm gonna run through this because I'm kind of out of time, but so let's get go through this. Fitness games like We Fit and Fitness Boxing at 53, 54, racing sims like Gran Turismo, 55, battle royales like Fortnite and Tetris 99, 56, walking simulators like What Remains of Edith Finch and Going Home, 57, extreme sports like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and SSX, educational games at 58, like Number Munchers, all that tied with run and gun platformers like Gunstar Heroes and Contra. Weird to see that so low.
Yeah.
Number 60, looter shooters like Destiny and Borderlands. 61, sandbox adventure games like Goat Simulator and Gary's Mod. 62, your art or creative genre like Mario Paint and Art Academy. 63, physics puzzlers like World of Goo and Peggle. 64, cinematic platformers like Oddworld, Prince of Persia 89, Out of This World, that sort of stuff. 65, here's your arena fighters, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, Dissidia, those sort of games. 66, text adventures like Zork and Colossal King of Adventure. 67, pinball like Pokemon Pinball, Metroid Prime Pinball. 68, arcade sports like NBA Jam and NFL Blitz. 69, job simulators like Supermarket Simulator and Power Wash Simulator. Tied at 70 is flight sims like Ace Combat, Pilot Wings, and, well, Flight Simulator. Tied with MOBAs, so League of Legends and Pokemon Unite. 72 is vehicular combat like Twisted Metal and Destruction Derby. 73 is your auto runners like Jetpack Joyride and Temple Run. 74 is God Sims like Populous and Black and White. 75 is extraction shooters like Rainbow Six and Arc Raiders. And at the very bottom, 76, combat sports like UFC, WWE, and boxing.
Damn.
Our audience does not care about wrestling.
No, but the one WWE video we did quite well though.
Got beyond the audience, I guess. So
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah. It
So
is
yeah, there's
interesting that
all 76 genres that I broke down.
there's some in there that I think were robbed a little bit. I'd love to have seen arcade sports and rail shooters do better, especially rail shooters especially. I think that could have done a lot better. But
Yeah.
yeah, is what it is.
Yeah. You gotta play more like that. Like get your, sin and punishments and stuff like that and
Yeah.
so forth. But oh well. But honestly, pretty decent representation of what I expected. A few surprises here and there, but I'm curious what all of you think about what ultimately ended up being our top genres for this audience. So definitely let us know about that in the comments below. And as of right now, our new poll is already up for next week. Since we're getting close to Pokemon Day, we're doing a Pokemon related poll. We want your top 10 starter Pokemon, from all generations, plus let's go Pikachu and Eevee. So we've got Pikachu and Eevee in there as well. You can decide whatever metric you want, because I only put the initial form in there, but you can judge them based on their evolutions. You can judge them based on all their different forms. You can base on aesthetics. You can base on how useful they are. Whatever your decision is, it's just in there about what makes it your favorite. You get to decide. So make sure to vote in that poll. It'll be in the description and the comments. So look out for that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to GVG, hitting the like button, and ringing that bell. We also have a Patreon at patreon.com/GVGaming with plenty of extra perks. So until next time, bye.